Service delivery that the city provides, or how the government is established and is formed, you know, how revenues are collected, those kinds of things. And so I think it makes natural sense for part of that discussion to be boards and commissions, what they do, how they're connected with the city council, how they kind of govern their respective areas. And so just keep it kind of in the forefront of your mind that we'll be reaching out via email at some point and inviting you to put together maybe a 10, maybe a 15-minute presentation, but it's for you to tell your story to this group of people, right? So we'll give you more information, obviously, than just that, but that's something to keep in mind. And we're targeting for this first tranche of folks to go through that probably sometime after spring break and before summer vacation, so that there's this 8-week window where we have a pretty clear calendar. And then ultimately we're planning probably to do 2 of those a year. So one in the spring, one in the fall, maybe cadence wise, but that's really all I have to brief the board today.
Questions for him? So I have one question. So how do you determine, or how we determining the groups that you will be inviting? Will it be the same group for all board, all commissions, or how will that look?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and one that we're still kind of wrestling with, because the challenge is that we want to make it as informative and as meaningful as possible, but also not make it, you know, a 16-week thing, right? So we're targeting about 8 weeks, and so we're trying to pack as much content into that 8 weeks. And so a group of us here are trying to really sit down and game plan what that looks like. How do we efficiently get those conversations organized so they make the most sense for the audience and give them the most useful information that we can possibly deliver. And so we'll be, kind of probably evolving that over time. It may not look the same way 2 years from now as it looks now, but that's a great question, one that we're probably over the next couple of weeks going to make some preliminary decisions on who goes when, how many we invite for the first round to see how it goes, those kinds of things.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
So I do have one other question for you. It came to my attention that the council is planning on is it a 6 o'clock workshop? How's this going to work? For a discussion on the ordinance that was written to establish the board of trustees and the library. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I believe it's a 6 o'clock session.
Yes, it's the
Okay,
6
yeah.
o'clock workshop.
Yeah, so it's the 6 o'clock workshop. So typically, subjects that are scheduled at the 6 o'clock, the intention is for them to take that 6 to 7 hour, the 1 hour period between 6 and 7. And so, I would expect for that conversation to take that entire time, but that's exactly right. It's a conversation that council has scheduled in a workshop format to discuss the ordinance that establishes, the board of trust, or the library board of trustees.
Do you know if they have a set agenda for that 6 o'clock meeting? The types of things that they plan to discuss in regards to that ordinance? Are you aware of any planning around that?
So what the mayor told me was that the discussion will be led by the mayor pro tem, and that it will only be about the policy, since that's the only thing on the agenda.
And that's public,
Yes, it's public.
people can attend.
Yeah, anyone can
Absolutely,
attend.
yeah.
So
Is it an open discussion with us?
No.
Or just amongst them?
it's a workshop, so it's just among the council.
Right, I should have clarified that in my response. It's a workshop, not a joint meeting, right? So it's a discussion that council is going to be having.
Right.
Now, there may be, down the road, there may be a joint meeting that occurs as a result of that discussion.
Right.
But Tuesdays, the 17th discussion is a workshop amongst council.
Got it. Thank you. Sure. All right. So, we are on to Kim, and Kim's not here to do the Friends of the Library report. But, I can report a little bit on that, and then Jandy and Bob, who is our observer, who regularly attends the Friends of the Wooded Lake Library. You can, if I leave anything out, let me know. It was a pretty short, meeting, really. Their last meeting, they installed their new, officers. And I can't remember all the names of the officers off my top of my head, but I'm gonna try. The new president is, Lola Douthat. The vice president is her sister Joanne Marabello. The secretary is Sharon Sale, and then the treasurer will stay the same. That'd be Betty Kennedy. So those are the new officers, and the officer at large would be Sue Hamlet, my wife. So she stays on the officers and moves to a different position. So that's with that, and then I represented the board to install those officers, and then they discussed their upcoming, I guess, fundraiser, which is the baskets for the Valentine's Day, which is it's an online thing only, Bob, or is it online only? Yeah, online only auction, and not sure how many, we'll find out, I guess, this month, how many baskets were donated to that.
It runs from the 1st to the 10th of February, the online part.
Okay, 1st to the 10th.
The site is set up, but it's suspended right now.
Uh,
And yesterday, we had our first pickup of baskets. And right now, I want to say we have like 8, but the people who procrastinated can bring them to our house on Friday. So, my guess is we're about halfway there. I'm sure we probably got 6 or 7 more. And my wife, who does all of the graphics and everything, is preparing to box up the stuff, put the baskets, wrap them, and we've got a house full of things like that to do that and take the pictures so we can.
Right. Well, that's a pretty good fundraiser for them every year. So that was, I think, and then it was just kind of a celebration of what had been accomplished over the course of the year, which they had a great year. They raised a ton of money. They've added another great addition for our community, and I'm not sure if it's been used yet, but Jandy, you can help me out on this one if it has. And those are the tickets for the symphony and how that works. So that's another thing that our library provides as a result of the efforts of the principal library and the fundraising, which allows them to the library to do that and acquire those tickets for our community. So that, there's just a lot of cool things that they do to help the library do all the cool things that they do for our community. So, Jandy, could you refresh everyone's memory on how those symphony tickets work? I'm not quite sure.
So I'm super up to speed as of today. Our check cleared with the symphony as of yesterday. And so we will have 40 tickets for the symphony. We're doing 3 shows in their Masterworks session.
Yeah.
So we have 3 Sunday performances of shows. The first one is going to be on the 22nd. I'm going to be posting the tickets later today. You can order your tickets on the Facebook page and on the library website. And then we have a confirmation that will go to the patron's email that they will print off, and then they'll take that to the box office and get their tickets for the shows. So it was really great because the symphony, we paid for 20 tickets, and then they're donating 20 additional tickets to the library. So that's a huge number of tickets. When we did this program in the past, as it was brand new and they only had 4 tickets. So obviously that doesn't return many people.
Yeah.
So
is that 40 for each performance?
yes, each
Oh
show.
my gosh, that's fantastic.
Sorry, yeah, 40 for each show. Well, that's incredible.
40 total. Wow.
Yeah,
40 for each performance.
yes,
So that's 120.
yes.
That's
Total.
fantastic.
So I want to say it's, I think it's January, February, March, or it might be January, February.
That's part of their Masterworks series.
Yes, so,
It's all classical music.
yeah, so ideally the tickets will go, online 2 weeks before the show. Just we're a little bit late
Got
they wanted to wait till our check cleared, which makes
I
sense.
get it.
You gotta pay for stuff before you can sell it, So we'll have that live later today.
Cool. Thank you. That's for clarifying that. That's,
Mhm.
I you probably had that already in your report. Oh. All right, so that's Trends of the Library report. And City Council.
I wasn't able to attend last week, but I'll be attending going forward. Jandy was there, and I think the only library news was that they put on the workshop.
Yes, the December meeting, the thing I wanted to just mention was, at the last December meeting, they recognized employees throughout the city. Generally, it's for those who reached like milestone years with the city. The library had 2 at the last one. So we had Rhonda Gimlin, who has been one of our library techs at the library for 15 years now. And then we had our sub Carol McKinney, who's been subbing at the library at the front desk for 10 years. So I'm really happy to have them. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
To have that, that kind of
Longevity,
longevity and consistency is real nice to have.
yes.
Great. Okay, so now we are on to your report, Cindy.
Just something kind of funny to mention. After New Year's, the library was closed, on Monday in observation of New Year's Day. Tuesday, when we got to the library, there were books coming out of the book drop. And we thought that, we forgot to put we have, this big huge barrel that picks up all the books, and we have like a little shelf in there so that the books don't always fall to the bottom. So we thought we had forgotten to drop the bottom. We had not. We had received so many books over the New Year's weekend that it had filled up and had backed up into the book drop. So that's something we had never seen at the library before. So I feel like everyone was kind of doing their spring cleaning after New Year's, like clean up all of our Christmas stuff, get all the books out. So it took all of Tuesday and half of Wednesday to get all of the books checked in.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where, depending on how large your library is, sometimes it will take a few days to get books checked in. Generally, that's not the case with our library. The only time we've had that is during COVID when we had to quarantine. So we had people calling like, I returned my books, and we're like, I'm sure you did. We're just trying to get through this massive barrel of books. So that was just, I don't know if I wanted to mention.
There wasn't one family returning.
No.
That is entertaining.
But things have been going very smoothly at the library. We had our Christmas events on December 17th, which is since I've seen you guys. We had roughly 60 to 80 people attend, doing different Christmas crafts and that sort of thing. That program is something that's always evolving. So this year we did Christmas crafts and then a Christmas movie and snacks and that sort of thing. Another great thing that came from it is there's I want to say it's a nonprofit called Gizmo in Coeur d'Alene that does STEM programming. So they reached out to us and asked if they could come to the events and do a little STEM station center. And they did a fantastic job. The kids really enjoyed it. And so they've asked to form a partnership with us and come every few months and do STEM programming in the library for kids. So, they have a lot of gadgets and
If you have not been to Gizmo, it is such an amazing space. I just joined in January. That's where I was taking the pottery class. That I was having on Tuesday.
So maybe they obviously have more than STEM, because I'm just,
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
quilting, they have, they have printmaking, and they have leather tooling, and they have stained glass, and they have woodworking shops, and like just amazing.
yeah, so that is a great resources for us, and I'm very pleased because they're in Coeur d'Alene, so it's not like a 5-minute drive for them to come. But yeah, they want to come every few months and do a class for kids, and it might change the age levels and that sort of thing, but I think was a great partnership that came out of that. So yeah. They're coming in January, and I want to say something with like bottle rockets or some kind of rocket program that they're going to be doing. So
Yeah, if it's water, well, I can imagine we could be doing that in January.
I feel like it's something with rockets, maybe I'm misremembering, but we're really looking forward to that. I mentioned also last month that I wanted to give you an update on our Dewey Decimal System project. So we're relabeling all of our juvenile nonfiction from BISAC, which is the bookstore model, back to Dewey, which is thought to be kind of like the standard in libraries. We are like 95% finished with the project now. It's taken us about a month, which is a little bit longer than we thought it would. Right now, we're just in the process of relabeling books that were checked out. So that, they were with a family, and those books are now kind of trickling in and being returning. So we're just getting those last stragglers. And so we'll get all of those relabeled, and then we're just working on different shelf signage to help people know where different things are and that sort of thing, so. Yeah. That's everything I have for you guys today.
Okay, well, it says here we're off to new business, but, I think there's something missing on the agenda. I thought we were going to, approve bylaws.
Yes.
Action items later.
Is it under action items?
Yeah.
Am I a little bit, oh, there we go, got it. Okay, thank you. All right, so new business, review of library policies.
Yeah.
So, can we discuss that a little bit? What's the intent of, that?
Let me
Get ready
share
to
my
look
screen.
at which policies we need to review this year and calendar them for the coming year,
Got it.
if we need it.
If we need.
Yeah.
And, when did, or how, and when did we want to, tackle those? Is that something we want to put in Jandy's corner to bring to us to consider, or do we all want to kind of go through those and decide which ones need to be updated, or I think, so help me out a little bit on this.
Yeah. So I had done a cursory glance at it to kind of bring you guys my thoughts.
Okay.
So let me pull this up. So, let's see if this will show. So this is the list of all of the library policies that are posted on our website. We have 17 policies. I went through these. The majority, I did a cursory glance looking through at different dates. I did a cursory look, and there was, the majority of them have been updated as of 2019. So it's been three years? Yeah, so it's been about 3 years. Some of them I felt like are okay as they are. Some of them I want to take a look at. Obviously you guys can go through and give me your feedback, but the main ones that I wanted to put up at least first on the docket for this year were our circulation policy. That consists of what kind of materials we have in the library and how long they can check out, you know, how many days they can check out, how many items patrons can check out. So everything that has to do with our physical materials in the library and their circulation. The other one I wanted to take a look at is our computer and internet use policy. I wanted to take a look at the whole policy, but one item I wanted to take a look at is our minors' access to the computers. That's something I wanted to address in the new policy. Our oldest policy currently is the customer service policy, which hasn't been updated since 2018. So that one's a little bit older. So I just thought we should take a good glance at that one. Looking through it, I didn't see any huge red flags, but it being so long, I wanted us to look over it with a fine tooth comb. And then the last one that had been a flag for me is the bottom one, the 3D printer policy. We used to have a 3D printer at the library that our library tech was over, and he would print stuff out for patrons. We don't currently have the 3D printer at the library. It's here at City Hall. So it's one of those things where I don't know if we currently need this policy or if we can archive it. Or if it's something where, I mean, it's one of the, we need to take a look at it. So those were the 4 that were first on my list.
I saw that and I was like, they have a 3D printer. So is it now under like people at the city hall?
So Todd has it, because he's the city's IT specialist. We used to have, that's the word I was looking for, tech, not IT. We used to have an IT specialist at the library specifically, and now we have an IT specialist for the city. So he does do all of our IT work at the library for us. So I want to say it's something that we have at the city that he can do for people, but I don't know that it's like widely no. But it's just one of those things where we don't have it at the library and we're not currently using it, so
Right.
do we need the policy?
The link goes to the vulnerable person.
Yes, and that was the other thing. When you click on it on the website, it goes to the vulnerable person policy.
Even though the link is to 3D printer
Yeah.
policy, it's like the wrong file got
Yeah.
uploaded under the wrong.
So at the very basic, if we feel like we need to have it,
That's
it
another
needs to
version of,
re-upload it.
that's another version of an IT problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my gut on this is remove the link completely. We have to fix it anyway, but if there's no way to request at the library.
Yeah.
Something to be 3D printed, then we should remove. the-
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I didn't know we need to vote to archive it, like, that was the other thing, so.
I don't,
So,
Yeah.
do we want to, I'm thinking maybe, it might be a good idea for, of course, we can put these on there. And we can put the 3D printer policy up first and clarify that maybe at the next meeting or whatever. But I'm wondering if it might be a good idea for all of us to kind of review those policies before the next, and bring with us, next, our maybe ones that we'd like to just look at as a total board, or maybe, I don't know, do we need to look at it, like open them up a few at a time at each meeting and then look at them, review them, discuss them, put them on, someone's, well, ask for an update, a change or whatever. What do you think?
So, go ahead, Teresa.
No, I was thinking if we reviewed them, I have the list of the ones that Jamie thinks are pertinent, but if we review them on our own and then kind of bring it to the meeting, I think it would help with the time amount that we have to meet together, to have a list already. That way we're not taking that time in the meeting to review it. If that makes sense.
mhm.
If we have an initial view on our own and we bring in the ones that are problematic. we can get.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Or
so
any-
review on our own
Yeah.
and then if there's any that we want to beyond what Jamie suggested, take a look at also. to make sure.
Well, I'm thinking, when does the agenda have to be posted? The week before the meeting?
It's the Friday before.
So if we find a few that we need to flag, maybe adding that on an email,
Right,
to Jamie, to have it added to the agenda.
add it to the agenda. I think that's a great idea.
I would say as far as the 3D printer policy goes, one, because it's a broken link, and two, because we don't have a 3D printer. I don't think we need to wait till next month to say,
Okay,
remove the link from the website,
sure,
And archive it.
and archive it, yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's great. If we don't have a 3D printer, there's no need to even have it, but
so my other question would be, my thought would be for the agenda at the next meeting, we just put review library policies, continued. And then I don't have to know anyone's name of the policy that they have feedback on. And if I could bring you my notes on the first policy, the circulation policy, to kind of go over with you guys as well, and we can review that, start reviewing that one. I don't necessarily want to calendar each of these, because it might be one policy takes 1 month, and it might be another policy like our collection development policy that took 6 months.
right.
So kind of
That's a good thing.
start with this one, and then once we finish it, move on to the next one.
I agree.
And we'll just keep a running list of ones that you guys come up with also at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so I'm thinking we need to make it official in regards to the 3D printer policy. And ask for a motion to remove, to either, well, yeah, to remove the policy from the,
Yeah, I move to remove the 3D printer policy from the website and archive the policy for potential future reference.
call for a second.
Second.
Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
I,
Aye, okay, we got it. Please remove that from the.
one policy.
There we go, that was out the door.
Perfect. So next meeting, I'll send you guys a copy of the circulation policy for you guys to take a look over. And I will bring, my thoughts and notes as well to the next meeting for us to start our review.
Okay?
Okay.
And we'll review it ourselves, and
Yes,
if we have any questions for you, we'll bring those with us next week as well.
yes.
Or next
Next month.
Yeah, next month. Okay, anything else in regards to the policies? All right, great. All right, I already did this update on the library ordinance. I think we've already had that update. But is there anything else that we need to hear or discuss in regards to that?
I will be there just because I'll be at the board meeting anyway,
Yeah.
so then I'll be there.
Good. I plan to be there as well to listen in to the discussion regarding the ordinance and the feelings about it moving forward.
I will be there via Zoom.
Okay.
So the 6 o'clock time does not give me time to get there and back. So I will be there with my camera on, Zoom, listening, taking notes. So
And that.
know that I'm there and I'm not ghosting you guys.
Yeah, my daughter is performing in Pups at the Living Theater. She has rehearsals from 6 to 8 every day, so I will probably be in the parking lot soon.
Good. Well, at least we'll have representation and we'll get, it's always good to have different eyes and ears listening to see, because all seeing and hear things a little bit differently. And
Just for-
we can hear them. Yeah.
Further clarification, so is this workshop meeting, I guess this is for Mark, is the workshop meeting, is it to discuss the ordinance or is it to discuss the collection policy? I know you said that Phil's running it, so I'm not sure.
The ordinance.
The whole ordinance, okay.
Yes, so it'll just be on the ordinance. The mayor said, because it says library policy, it is, or sorry, because it says library ordinance, it will be on the
Okay.
ordinance. So if they wanted it on the policy, it would have to say on the library policy.
Right.
So, the other thing that will happen at that, not at the 6 o'clock meeting, but at the 7 o'clock meeting is they will be voting to confirm, Bob to the library board.
Which is another reason why I will be there.
Yes.
I'm just questioning whether I should be there or should I wait until the council meeting starts?
It's open to the public.
It's open to the
I know it's
public.
open to the public. Yeah.
I would love if you're able to attend both, if your schedule allows.
No, I
Yeah.
just didn't know if it was a conflict or not, because I'm not necessarily approved.
It
But
should,
since it's them talking and not,
Yeah.
and
not
the
public,
public
I
is,
think
it's
it's
open to
okay.
the public, so.
And I don't know, I used to attend those 6 o'clock workshops regularly, but I don't remember, Mark, do they have public comment at the workshops?
Typically not at the workshop, that they would wait until the regular meeting to have their 2 sessions of public comment.
That's what I thought. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then, Bob, I would just want you to be prepared sometimes to ask questions before they confirm you, so that you don't feel like you're in headlights,
yeah, it's okay.
so.
That's why I don't want to say anything in the 6 o'clock meeting to come off and ask different questions. at 7.
All of the questions change.
Like a deposition.
Yeah,
all right, so now we're on to the action items. So we need to vote to approve the library board of trustees updated bylaws, and I have a copy of those in my hand. We went over those last time. Is there a need to, Shauna, did you want to, it's up to you. I'll put it in your court. Do you want to review the things that have been specifically changed? I know we did that last time, but I want.
Yeah, I would say, put a motion forward to approve them, and then if there's any discussion.
Got it. Okay, that sounds good. So I will put a to the floor, asking for a motion to approve the revised bylaws for the trustees.
and I would just, sorry, want to add that, these bylaws have been posted for the public, the last 30 days at the library. And I have not received any public comments about them, but they were posted at the library, and then also they were attached to the agenda for review by citizens.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. I move to approve the bylaws, as amended.
I second.
there any discussion?
So I think we covered, what was being changed in the last meeting, and given that there's no public questions or input or comments, and they've been posted for 30 days, unless anyone on the board here has additional comments or questions, I'm happy to answer them, but there hasn't been any change from the discussion from what we had, finished with last meeting.
No, I asked Kim to weigh in, and she all good with, everything she's read through them, and she would vote for a yes on the approval. All I would say is that I think they're spot on, and they have clarified things, and, especially with board, officer terms and duration and those kinds of things. And so I think it's a very good document. So
I do notice in the one attached to the agenda, there is a typo for section 4. It's got items 1 through 10, but item 6 is blank.
Oh, yeah, so it looks like maybe I hit tab or something.
Yeah. So
Or I hit enter. Yeah.
clerical error, I think that an enter was hit.
Sorry.
Page, that right there.
is that number 6 here?
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
6 under, section 4
Yep.
of article 4.
Yeah. So I would approve, I don't know, do we have to amend the bylaws for a clerical error?
Thanks.
I don't think so, but
I don't believe so. A clerical error, can we just make a note in, saying that the clerical error can be adjusted?
Yes, I would just say vote to approve the bylaws
With the,
as written, fixing the clerical error.
yeah, with the adjustment to the clerical error. Bob, did you have a comment?
It was the same one that
Oh, okay.
that Shauna brought up.
Got it.
Sorry, guys, I better hit tab as I was.
That's easy to do.
Well, and I know we removed an item from that list too, so it could have just, it could have happened. So I would say, I move to amend the prior motion to be, amend the bylaws as written with the correction of the clerical error in section 4, article 4.
So we need to have another, second of that motion. Can you do that, too?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So now we
All those
will,
in favor?
huh?
All those in favor?
Aye.
I am.
Amending
I was-
the motion.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
I was going there.
Oh, sorry.
I was getting there.
In my mind, I thought you were.
No, maybe not fast enough. I know I'm not fast enough for my wife a lot of times, Jandy, so that's okay. Okay, all those, in favor of the amended motion, please say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you. So now we have a motion on the floor and a second. So I'm gonna ask, Teresa, can you reread the motion for us, please?
Yeah, motion to approve the bylaws is written, fixing clerical error on extra space on article 4, section 4.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion, amended motion, please say aye. Aye. Okay. It carries, and we now have a new set of bylaws, and a big thank you to Shauna for putting the effort in cleaning this all up for us. Appreciate it.
So there is on that last page a section for signatures in adoption. That was what was on the last version. It's not necessary, but that is the version that we voted in. So
Right.
I think once GMB corrects
Corrects it.
that item, we would put in the date, today's date that they were approved, and then we can have the board sign it. If we have a physical copy,
Right.
we could bring a physical copy next
Yes,
meeting and we'll
Yes.
sign it then.
Well,
that sounds perfect.
you've come, thank you. All right, so now the next action item is to take care of our officers. vote to approve officers. Well, first of all, we have to have nominations on the floor for officers. All right, so, let's,
I have a question.
yes,
Do we want to still do this today, or do we want to wait till next meeting after Bob is confirmed?
that's a good point.
Sorry.
Yes, no, that's a very good
I
point.
prefer to have you all do it.
Well,
No, we gotta.
our bylaws say officers are voted in January.
Yes,
Oh,
oh, well then, yeah, so we gotta follow the bylaws,
thank you, Sean,
That's voted in.
yeah.
lawyer.
I like it, keep us on track, so even though that would be a nice thing to do,
Being confirmed, possibly being confirmed on the 17th, we would possibly just have a special meeting where we just. In January.
Or do we just vote in the officers that we can?
Well, there's only
It's just
two
that
of them.
Kim's,
there's only two officers, and that's president and secretary.
Yeah.
okay,
And the rest of them are all, kind of assignments that people, committee assignments.
I don't-
recommend following your
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Right, and I don't anticipate that changes.
okay, sorry, I was thinking of all five, so,
No,
Yes.
it's just the secretary and president, and I nominate the current position holders.
I'm gonna say secretary.
I'm okay with it.
As long as you guys know that sometimes I take a minute to like.
You know what, they're so thorough when they get there, and it's great, so I appreciate that, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So I'm okay with maintaining my position for, I think it's.
It's
And then we'll
2
make
years.
2 more years.
That's 2 years.
Well, no, I'm okay with that.
I mean, you can always resign as the
Yeah.
officer, but stay on the board.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. And the bylaws allow that. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. So there's a motion on the floor to retain the current, officers in their current positions. Do we have a second for that motion? Okay, we have a second. All right. All those in favor of carrying the motion, please say aye, raise your hand. Aye. Okay, so we have the same, officers for the next, duration. All right, and then we can appoint, Bob to any position we want to, and,
The other board members, well, any board members, it doesn't need to be other board members, we did clarify that.
that's good.
Shall serve in liaison positions to the city council and friends of the library, and so those are the. The other positions that are officially available.
I didn't think this was just sit here and listen. I'm good with that.
So no, and it's nice to have someone volunteer for those spots, makes it a little bit easier because we know that that's something they might have an interest in, and the, and they'll be there, and
And we may want to consider, because the city council meetings are so time intensive, having 2 board members, alternating.
I agree with that.
yeah, like one doing the first and the other
Yeah.
doing the third,
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So we can discuss that next month.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those 5 people, that gives us that flexibility.
I usually try to make them all, but there's times when I don't.
Yeah.
So it's good to make, that if we're covered by having 2 of us, or maybe even 3 that
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, because there are people that like to go and listen to what's going on in other areas of the city too, so that would be good. All right.
Zoom allows you to do it easily.
Yes.
So I have, then I guess, that covers the things that we have on our agenda. Does anybody have anything else that we need to consider for today? All right, so I would ask for any agenda items for next month. We already have a couple, I think. One is the policy. the curriculum or circulation policy. It's education in a curriculum, and comes out as curriculum, not circular.
Yeah, I think Gianni wanted it just review of library policies continue.
Then, okay.
They're coming online.
Okay, so
How long it'll-
review of all the policies, again, to make sure we know which ones we want to address throughout the year. Okay, I would like to put on that, according to our booklet here, that, it's not in the bylaws, but normally and this kind of fell by the wayside during the pandemic years, but that is a yearly report to the council in March. That was normally done. And I really would like us to reestablish that through a thing that we do. And that would be a report by the trustees about the trustees over the course of the year, what has transpired, how we participated with not participated, supported the library, and also the librarian. I know she gives a report. Jandy, what month do you give your yearly report to the library or to the board? Have you done that already at the end in December, or do you give a yearly report like in March?
I'm not quite sure what month it is. I know that personally I'd like to do it in May or June, just because that's when we get all of our statistics from the state.
Right.
Do you guys remember that I reviewed with you?
Right. Okay, well then, you know what, maybe we might want to reconsider the March thing and do that. So, do all the library, because that was in past, that was also part of the report was statistics from the library, those kinds of things. So maybe we might want to wait and put that off and do that when it more aligns with, the state.
Release of
The
that,
state
yeah.
requirements and stuff. Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I think you did include information in your last report also about, and at the board level, when you reviewed these policies and
Yes,
All right. Okay, well, if you have anything to add to the agenda for next time, send Jandy or myself an email, and we'll make sure. I usually meet with Jandy the Friday before our meetings to review the agenda with any items that may have come up between now and then. So, does anybody have any other comments before we adjourn for the day? Okay, well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for, all the work that has transpired this last year. So, looking forward to a great year this year, and I know I'm hoping that we can begin to discuss how do I want to put this, the coming of our new library and how that's going to look and how we want it to look, all those kinds of things. I'm looking forward to that discussion as we go forward. All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.